With the Open Public Meeting Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. Meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Copies of all revised or additional meeting notices are sent via fax to the record, Suburbanite Northern Valley Press, and are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center. For the record, we're waiting on Councilman Barzalato, who should be here shortly. For the members of the public, this is a combined session, a work session first. Then we go into the big room for our public meeting, at which time we will take public comment. I would like to vary from the agenda briefly, if you, council would indulge me. We have with us a lady representing Keller Williams. Nancy?
Yes, that's it.
I don't know your
Nancy
list.
Bierman?
Okay, they came in today with a request, I guess primarily due to the weather forecast, to put a tent up on the sidewalk in front of their store, which used to be Oxygen, just for the day. They're not going to leave it up overnight. I will tell you that I checked with Bob Byrne. A tent this size really doesn't require, and it doesn't even require a permit. However, because it's on public property, it does require our approval. And I spoke with Bob again tonight. I asked him, would he be available once the tent is installed? You should call him immediately, let him look at it, just to make sure that it's safe. He's our construction official. And you said you would take it down at the end of the night. Bob said he would make himself available. You call them, the building department.
When is this, for Thursday?
This is for
Oh,
Thursday,
okay.
their grand opening.
And where is that gonna be? In front of the,
It's
On
in,
Washington Street.
on Washington?
yeah, so the sidewalk is, from the building, it's about 10 feet, 10
Yeah.
to 12, depending on whether it sits on the
The ledge or the parapet,
right, exactly,
parapet,
whether
whatever
they
you
get
call
to
it.
the door or whichever, and I don't know until they arrive on Thursday, whether they're gonna be able to, keep it 2 feet in from the sidewalk, or
So
push
this
it to the
this is
edge
going to
of
be
the
installed in the morning and taken
Thursday,
down when you finish in the
after
evening.
9 o'clock.
And what, are you gonna have some promotional Coke, water, stuff like
We're
that?
gonna have, food and beverages,
Yeah.
and,
You giving away some houses?
I'm sorry.
Just a couple of questions, because your group appeared before the events committee.
Cindy and Denise did.
Right, but you're talking about putting it up at 9 in the morning, isn't the event starting at 4?
Right, so sometime during the day, I don't know what time they're coming, but before the event starts on Thursday. We called somebody today when we decided that maybe we needed to do this, it's last minute. We got somebody to come who was, able to deliver us a 10 by 20 foot tent. And, they will come that day and move it that evening.
I would prefer for it to not be a full day.
Okay.
And I think you should touch base with the police department, because they had already planned to make some arrangements with respect to the parking in
I
front
spoke
of
to
your
Sergeant
location.
Bazo.
Plaza?
Yes.
Mhm.
And he was coming, probably not until about 3:30, because we don't want to take up
Right.
those spots all afternoon at 2 or 3, so he's gonna come and cone off the 2 spots in front
Mhm.
sometime, I'm not sure when, but
Okay.
somewhere between 3 and 4.
And the group does have insurance. They submitted an insurance certificate.
So I can speak with the, party rental company tomorrow. I don't have a time for them that they're arriving, but,
Do you have a name for them?
yeah, I can give them all that. It's
I
not
do temp stuff
Allen
at work
Party Rental,
now.
because we have to get somebody out of the area,
It's
actually.
yours, I'm sorry.
It is, Metro Party Rentals, and they're in Patterson.
Okay.
Okay. If you get some sense of when it's going to be installed, let the police know.
Just contact Sergeant Baza.
Yeah.
Yes, but also, when it is installed, then we need you to contact the building department.
Okay.
Let them know that it's ready for inspection.
Lindsay, I should speak to.
Lindsay or Donna, whoever answers the phone, and let them know that.
Donna's away, no?
Yes.
I will let them know that Bob is expecting the call to, if he's out on the road, he can be called and ask him to come look at the tent, just to make sure it's in
Okay.
his mind safe.
Yeah,
it
because
is a-
typically we get a sketch, but in this case, we don't have a sketch.
Right,
Right.
even with a sketch, if it's on public property, I'd really like to be assured that nobody's in jeopardy walking down the Saturday.
And just sandbags. Make sure they bring enough sandbags for the third party company. That's been a problem.
In order to secure them on the ground.
No
Yeah, you
wind.
can't stake them into the ground, there's no
It's
ground.
asphalt, right?
Concrete.
Yeah. They sometimes, if it's a bigger tent, the bigger frames, water barrels.
Well, it's a very small tent.
It should be
10
small.
10 by 10,
10 by
20.
20. Yeah.
small, yeah.
It's not gonna happen like happened in Miami with the bounce houses.
Oh, gosh, I saw that.
So, anybody have any further comment? Anybody have an objection to granting this?
I'm fine with it.
Request?
No, it's fine.
Okay, good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good grand opening.
You're the office manager? Okay, just a reminder, now that you're swinging into action, that one of the premises of the planning board was that the agents coming in and out would try to park in the back rather than on the street.
Yes, thank you very much. We
You're very
appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too.
Take care.
Would all like to come? You're welcome.
Internet.
Thank you.
Visit.
Bye-bye.
Administrators update.
That was
We
fast.
move right along.
Yes, essentially, we have just two updates for you. The first one regarding EMEX is actually a little ahead of the time that we need to consider the renewal. But the company is reaching out to us because they want to make sure that if we plan to renew, that we get the best price. So essentially, this is just to give you a preview and a heads up for those members, especially that weren't serving at the time that we entered into this agreement. But it has been very successful for the borough. This is strictly municipal facilities. This does not include any residential properties.
Streetlights. Streetlights.
Yeah.
Streetlights
Mhm.
and all of our
Buildings.
buildings for electricity. So one of the things that I included as a background piece was this was a memo. It's dated September 10th, 2013. Seems like a long time ago. But we did quite a bit of due diligence at the time before we entered into this agreement with them. And
This was relatively controversial, but it's worked out well.
yes, it has.
And the sense I get, if I remember the process back then, the more time we give them, the better opportunity they know when to go into the auction. When the
Correct.
price is hopefully down.
Exactly.
savings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
12%.
significant. It's been
Any
significant.
questions, folks?
It's not regarding this one, because you brought in the lights. Remember we made some application for extra lights, you said you're gonna look into it, like on Magnolia with the police department, send you the,
I will have to follow up with the
thank you,
police
that's all,
department.
it's
Yeah.
because you brought up the
'Cause,
lights.
yeah,
Thank you.
Once the police say approve
It
it,
was 6 months ago.
I know, I know.
it takes time.
Yeah, no, follow up on that, because if they
Yes.
want, if they believe there's a
Slow
light,
walking.
then we need a light.
Yeah.
Slow walking, yes.
Okay, the other,
Oh, and the other item was just to give you an update on where we are in terms of our annual donations for the fireworks.
and I'm expecting some more to come in, so hopefully we'll be up where we were last year, which was sufficient to cover the costs.
And then just
Once
to
again,
listen-
the concerts will be running every Tuesday and Thursday between 4th of July and Labor Day.
And then just your update on events. As you can see, the Keller Williams event is actually on the list. But as we pointed out earlier, it was just their request for the tent that was new. And that's basically it.
Okay, under correspondence, we have two letters. One is a resident for the pod. And, this is primarily because he's on a corner, and that creates a really difficult situation for corner lots. Does anybody have a problem giving him this?
No, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, the only question is, when I was in the zoning board, they have kind of a procedure that if they reject it, it's because the resident really might have had a way to put it in the back, but they said that's not convenient for them. So I'm not so sure about this one because it doesn't say anything, and the zoning board rejected it. And I'm not so sure if this is a convenience
No,
issue.
this is the zoning officer. This didn't come before the zoning board. It came before, Bob Burns gets
Yeah.
the request, and by the book, he has to reject it.
Yeah, and they have to go to the zoning
No.
board then?
No.
This
No.
deposit comes to us.
Comes to us. All right.
And he has no rear yard, so to speak of, because he's on a corner lot. He's got two front yards.
But he has zoning approval for building the addition on his house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was all done in contemplation of that.
Okay.
But I have a question now. If the pod goes in the front of the house on Grove and Mahan, and it's the corner, what we've never really talked about is there a line of sight that's blocked by the placement of the pod? Because it's a
For
corner,
left
Good
turn.
point.
and that should the police really
So-
be checking where that placement is, or who, the sight distance, I don't know whose responsibility that is.
Let's do two things. Let's ask him for a diagram that needs to be, the location needs to be approved by the police.
Yeah.
And second of all, a time frame. You
Yep.
don't wanna give him an
Yeah,
open-ended time
what did
part.
we allow?
He
Up to
says,
6 months.
who says up to
6
6
months?
months?
He
That's
told
good
me,
enough.
so I wrote it down because it wasn't included. I told him he has to provide a time frame.
Yes, written, will be up to 6 months.
Yep, it says it.
Okay, so,
If Nadia's conditions are basically acceptable, I'm okay with that.
the second correspondence is a letter from the New Jersey League of Municipalities. We were among a small number of municipalities that were mentioned in the program, and our resolution was out there on the table, you know, acknowledging Bill Dressel's career and the 100th anniversary of New Jersey League of Municipalities. Like I said, there weren't that many municipalities that did it, so I thought it reflected very well on us. Resolutions, anybody have any?
Before we go there, we had a letter from Senator Weinberg, and the last time we had over here, we said we're going to discuss it this time. It was regarding the Charlie Brown, and we know we have to refer it to the, basically to the planning board, but came to us, we need to basically say, okay, we got the letter, let's send it to the planning board for them to take a look. I don't want to ignore the letter from Senator Weinberg.
Well, the planning board has already received the letter, it was in their packet, so it is part of the application. And
All right, so the resolution was that we're gonna send that to the planning board for them to look at it, because it was addressed to us. That's why we need to take a,
Well, it's done, the
Okay.
planning board has it. Anybody have any questions on the resolutions, which will be, I guess, most of the consent agenda? Okay, Mark, this resolution of appreciation for law enforcement officers, did you want to?
Right, I think we should wait for
Since-
Councilman
since-
Bartolotta, and probably reschedule this.
Well, Tony isn't here right now. I would expect that he would be here later in the evening. After the public meeting, we will go into closed session to do the closed session. When we come out of closed session, if you folks want, we're back in public
Okay,
session,
right.
open session. We can discuss it then, if you like.
That's fine.
I would assume he'll be here.
If he's here,
And
we'll
if not,
discuss
we can
then.
do it, we can move.
maybe we should postpone it.
Table it.
We can table it.
Table it better off to this, and then.
This way we have an opportunity
Yeah.
to
Discuss it. in
To
have
public.
him
discuss it,
here
yeah.
and discuss it at length.
Yeah,
Well, we could do that tonight. I mean, I don't care. It's
now,
up to
we
you.
would rather,
Well,
what's
because we're gonna
that?
go from that meeting right into closed here, then we have to
Right.
open back up, and then the
Yeah,
public will be
We'd
part
rather
of the
table
conversation.
it at this
Okay.
point.
No problem.
I have some good of the order, though.
I'm sorry?
I have some good of the order before we go on
Okay.
to, since we're on good of the order.
Sure.
Let's see, I guess I had spoken to Jewel about this. I don't remember at this table discussing that the county was coming in to pave County Road. And I know there's the police did a nice job of putting up the sign that says County Road's gonna be closed from June 1st to June 3rd, so make alternate plans. The sign is near Mount Carmel Church. I don't know what stretch of County Road they're paving, because I don't remember seeing it anywhere. Maybe it was an administrator's report that I
It was
missed.
in the report, yeah,
Okay,
it's
so-
from the Cresskill border
All the
to,
way to Tenafly border. Okay, so
Yeah.
people that use Highwood, Hillside, Hudson are not really seeing the police sign, because they're coming that way and they may not necessarily come down south. So I don't
see
know.
it coming back then.
Yeah, but they may not come that far. They might only do small segments. You have to do the whole thing. If you go into the downtown, you're not going to come all the way south to go to the downtown if you're coming from the East Hill. I don't know that, I think it's going to come as a big surprise if you're not coming through the intersection around the church to see that all of a sudden County Road's going to be closed. And since it's such a major artery, I think we need to do a better job of letting people know that it's going to be closed. I mean, the commuters see it because they're traveling
Well,
the length of
perhaps-
it each way.
Perhaps you could put up two signs facing each direction, north and south, at the intersection of Highwood.
Or could we, I don't know what the expense costs us, but is there a code red that we could use to let people know that this major artery is gonna be closed for at least 3 days? I
Oh,
mean,
it
they
doesn't
say
cost
3
us
days.
anything.
it doesn't cost us anything, I mean, we're under contract, we don't
Okay,
pay
so I don't know
them.
whether that is worth the effort for this major
Well, you know
artery
something?
closing.
It's not a bad idea, because
Let's
this
let
is
the
gonna
residents
create
know. Yeah.
chaos.
It's gonna create chaos, and people
course.
need to know that I'm
I-
gonna either get myself up to Knickerbocker, or I'm gonna stay on 9W, or stay elsewhere.
Well,
I'll talk to the
those are the
chief.
commuters, the Tenafly residents that need to go across town. I'm assuming the police will be prepared for this, but an intersection
Why?
like Highwood,
You got a
Mike-
school,
Mike-
you got two schools that, you know, that come right off of county. You got Mount Carmel, you got Morm, and you got the Lubavitch.
well, Mount Carmel.
Well, we've informed the board, in
And Mount
fact,
Carmel
That
knows.
knows,
in
yeah.
fact, Bob Colbert went to the board in person. It's
Mhm.
on the website. And there, and,
I know, but people aren't routinely looking for
I
that
understand.
kind of thing.
And we gave it to the chamber as well, so that they can do a blast email to the businesses.
On the close, not close, the Cresskill border, can the chief reach out to the closer? Cresskill chief, maybe borrow their sign from their end?
Or just let them
Right.
put up their sign that County Road in Tenafly is gonna be closed for 3 days.
Well, I'll let them know to take another look, a closer look
If
at
we're
the
short signed.
signage.
Code red's a good
And
idea.
then the code red, I think, is
I don't
probably
think-
one of the key
I don't know whether
things.
we ever built that database that we talked about a while ago, where people could sign up to get certain messages. I mean, this would be the perfect example of
That's,
somebody getting
that's
a
in
message.
code red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't think that anybody ever voted in or out. I mean, there was never.
Well, I did, when Code Red was on, we did, you know, a lot of
We
us
did
signed up
put
to
in
get
the
it from your
newsletter that if you
phone.
wanna be informed,
Yeah,
and this is of that level.
When people sign up, they tell us how they want to be informed. So you can be informed
Informed.
through text message, through
all your
telephone.
devices could ring at once.
I'm
That happens in our house.
I'm
Yes.
We
assuming,
can get 5 things going off at once.
that the police will have enough manpower, because I'm just envisioning the issues around the intersection with Highwood, the intersection with Hudson,
Mhm.
and the intersection with
Where Dean comes into county.
Hillside, I'm also assuming
There'll
that
be police
the
officers assigned as well.
traffic lights can be adjusted. Since there's not gonna be any traffic going on County Road, there's no reason why the intersection, the streets
Cross street
crossing
should
them
have the green.
should have the green all the time.
Yeah.
Before we go away, we never discussed this resolution.
But hang on,
I wasn't
let's
done.
finish
Oh,
this
you're not
thing
done.
first, and then you
Okay.
can be next. So Nadia has, I
No
don't know
problem.
if you have more than,
I
more
got-
than that?
I'm sorry. This has been a perennial problem of mine, is the email box.
Yeah, I noticed
And
your
I-
box was full today.
My box is full. It's been full, and it's been a little bit of a hardship. And I was thinking about this. I have, and I don't like to send emails from my personal email box, nor do I need borough stuff to come to my personal box. But I gave it some thought, and I said, well, we all start out, I think it's 300, the size of our mailbox, something like that. But if you're on the council for 3 years, that's all fine and well. But if you're on the council for 2 terms, you're still getting the same size box, but you've accumulated a lot more emails. And if you've been so lucky to be on the council even longer, you're still working with the same size mailbox.
It's called punishment.
It's called punishment. And in this day and age where you're not supposed to delete stuff, that if
It's
people can
sense.
Oprah
This is-
stuff, but even the fact of the matter is, okay, I can delete it and it's backed up at the Board of Ed.
Right.
Then the I don't want to say the hassle, but I have to come down here now if somebody wanted to Oprah, oh, let me have all your bid emails, and work over here to get through, find which emails would be the right, the emails that could be sent out to
It
the
should
public.
be a simple,
To increase the size of the
It should be
box.
very-
Well, I can
simple.
talk to IT about that, but I mean, they're never gonna be unlimited. You
Yes.
still have to manage your email.
But I deleted.
But we get requests,
Lots.
I mean, we get requests all the time through Discovery, and those requests are just simply forwarded to the Board of Education. They supply the
Because they take it off of the
information.
server somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, backups.
So it's not unusual.
Yeah, but once you want to go through
Convenience
some
wise.
of that,
Is it necessary for a member of the council to hold on to all this stuff?
Well,
I mean,
it's on,
it's not,
Yeah, it's
it's
not
not about
required
necessity.
because,
It's-
Yeah.
it's just, it's
the
nice
borough
to
really is
have.
the official copy.
Right, exactly.
yeah, but the borough doesn't always have it. Why would the borough have an official
No,
copy?
the
of
No,
it?
board
because
does.
the Board of Ed, since 2005, since sometime in 2005, Board of Ed journals every single email, and it's capped.
As
Yeah,
long
but
as you're on
if I want to go back to
Tenafly.net.
something, okay, let's just take the bid, we're always talking about it. It started, I don't know, 2009, and somebody will say, okay, well, give me some information, let me see the letter from corporation, let me see these things. I have them. I have them as a source. I don't know that anybody else has them. So I'm gonna have to go to the Board of Ed and say, okay, I deleted that from 2009. Can you find some emails that were maybe from May of something? Isn't that putting too much work on a
They
Board of Ed
will do
employee
that
to
for
do
you.
that?
What to do is they will download them all. 'Cause I know I looked.
Time out.
I mean, I have emails that I've had for 12 years that I've never deleted anything and I never run out of space.
I never had space.
Right.
That
But our
it's-
mailboxes here are
It
very
should be
small.
a simple request to the Board of Ed to,
Right.
for certain members.
No, for all the government.
No, I said I would ask them.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
simple.
Bigger
It's-
That should be there.
It's
Always so much.
nowadays storage is
I've
cents.
deleted as
It's
much as I
cents.
could possibly delete in yes, no emails and things that are not important. But
I think what I'm hearing is that they do all store all this stuff that you don't
I know.
have
They
to
do
store.
store it, but if you want it for your own.
If you need to
Yes.
retrieve it,
if I
it's
need to
personal
okay.
retrieve
ability.
it, even though I've
It's okay.
downloaded many documents,
It's
I
okay.
mean, it's a full-time job managing it.
Like
Keep,
they
keep
charge
in
us,
mind that
actually,
you're
for-
really dealing with two issues. One is the email,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is the attachments. It's the attachments eat up your memory as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't keep my attachments in email.
Mm-hmm. No, I've downloaded those. I've downloaded them. I've taken them out.
You've
Deleted
taken
them.
them
I've
out.
taken them out.
If you can get this to double or triple the size for the representatives,
It's cents. It's
Yeah.
nowadays this shouldn't be a problem.
It's
It really shouldn't.
Okay, you'll pass that request
Yes,
on and
I
let us
will.
know how you make out?
Okay, and then I have one other last issue, sorry, and this is not so tiny, but I know that we talked about the dog park and possibly putting the dog park over here. And there has been some discussion that obviously the people on Forster Road are not quite happy, and giving it some thought, you know, this is a commercial building or it's a public building. Usually when you have a building that has a business-like enterprise going on, you want a buffer between that and the residents. And now I feel that if we put the dog park there, we're taking the buffer between our business, our congestion here, away from the residents, that they deserve to have some kind of buffer between us and them. So I'm wishing that, and I know that we've looked for years for the perfect spot for the dog park. I'm not quite happy with the park there. That's only me. And I
Why
don't know
did we
how
move-
far
why
along
did we
that we
move-
are moving it.
Why did we move it away from here? Because of the stream?
Right.
More or less.
I just want you to give some thought to that fact.
Okay, well, when
We talk
somebody
about it
is
again.
ready, we can put it on the agenda for more further discussion. We haven't really talked about it in a while. I mean, Dan, if you wanna,
How far did the engineer get? Just take off the
yeah,
plot?
stay off, I mean, you know, that's all we asked them to do. You know, you have a sense of where it would go, the size, you know,
Right,
the
right.
layout.
Right.
It's really, I mean, the next step is if we're so inclined to approve it, or say it's not the right place for it. And Nadia's correct. Wherever we put it, we're going to run into some issues. You know, we've been really thinking about this for about 8 years now, and the reason it's taking so long is
Looking.
nobody wants it near their house.
right,
So,
I'm gonna put it on the agenda to discuss again?
absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Next.
I mean,
Thank you.
we had staked out an area across River Edge Road in
That
the
corner?
Common.
Oh,
which was probably a good location for it, other than people felt they didn't want it in the Common. You know, the reason being too close to a kiddie playground, you know, the park was too clustered. I mean, all arguments that you can make a case for, so that's why that didn't work. I thought Nadia was gonna suggest put it across in Dean Park, across from our house, but
Of course.
didn't come about.
We can put it in Walnut Park.
So,
It's underutilized
Walnut Park is. That was one of my picks.
along
But
the fence.
yeah,
I mean,
but
you might want to take a look at that.
really close to that person's home.
Well,
on the
remind me to
corner.
share my notes with you when the Little League wanted to play T-ball there for.
Parallel to the tracks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, that's it.
that's it?
Yes.
Max, did you have something?
now I was trying to say we're going to talk about the resolution for all buildings that basically opposes the
The user-
user-friendly budget.
Yeah, well, that's after the good order, that was on old business, yes.
Yeah, and okay, I don't want to make extra work for Jewel and the people over here. I kind of like the presentation that came out of that user-friendly, and I know that is unfunded. I would like to listen to you, Jules. What is your opinion? I like that type of management information that comes out so clear. So I don't want to be a pain. That's why I'm trying to.
Well,
Understand.
those who object to it are primarily communities that don't have a significant amount of staff. It's roughly about 11 to 12 pages. And essentially, it's information that you would not normally put together in this fashion. You don't have the ability to actually automate it, so it has to be done
Manually.
and,
And who would
you
be
know,
in charge of that?
well,
From
the
scratch.
CFO.
The CFO?
The
Not
CFO.
not even the deputy treasurer?
See, that's the problem.
Or-
Yeah, and even if you have enough staff, it's still taking time, you know, it's still
Right.
taking
It looks
time.
simple on the surface.
Yeah, it looks very good from the management.
However, it requires information to
work.
be put together in a way
Yeah.
that you don't typically do.
And you are in a very small minority in that you would actually look at it.
Yeah,
question
I've always
is-
had the
How
problem.
No,
friendly
but
is
the
it?
question is, how many people are going to take advantage of it? I mean, we had a public meeting for a budget, nobody showed.
Well, that's,
Nadia and then Mark,
Can
please.
I say something? Is it something, I know we talked about moving to different software,
Is
that
it
we
an
use.
admin?
Is it Edmunds? Does that have the capability to do this? Does any
No.
software on the market have the
No,
capability?
it doesn't,
So
because
this is
it's
all
yeah.
From scratch,
outside of
basically.
it.
Yeah. And even, I mean, basically, all the Department of Community Affairs supplies is the spreadsheets.
I would tell you this, you know, I don't mean to dispute what you just said, but at the Bergen County League of Municipalities, which represents all of the towns and cities in Bergen County, where there are plenty of towns and cities bigger than us, it was unanimous. There was no representative of any of the towns that supported this.
Well, one of the things that I think threw people off and disappointed people is that at one of the budget updates in November, we were all specifically told that it would not be a requirement for this year, and then they changed and made it a requirement for this year.
And I'm not sure that our resolution is going to change anything, Max.
well, whatever, you know, I'm not,
I mean, we had a similar effort for best practices, and we still have to do
But
it.
I do believe that there is a significant movement here against this, and you know, it's funny, when a bunch of us mayors met with Loretta and Gordon, they almost feigned ignorance about, what do you mean,
The whole thing,
about
the
this
whole
whole,
thing,
this whole
basically,
process?
we wind up spending tax money and get absolutely no benefit for anyone, not for the borough and not for the residents.
It's a time.
You
No.
know what? I
There,
well, it's not.
there are much simpler ways to see this information, just
Right.
in terms of what we
If there
already.
is
But
another
how?
way to simply
But how?
show the information,
Because look,
Yeah.
it says, like, let's take for example, how many full-time employees we have, 106, and we have 45 part-time employees according to this. Where now can a resident access that kind of information?
In the budget,
Easily, in the budget?
yeah, well, not, I was gonna say,
They have to
in
count up
the, in
each
the,
page.
no, in the budget presentation that I did, that information is in there.
Okay, and like vacant, we have 103 vacant parcels of land, I'm not quite sure what that means. But we have 4,400 residential pieces of property, 183 commercial. I mean, it kind of almost gives like a census. We
Well-
have 6 public schools. I mean, it's a lot of like census information.
Well,
Well,
in-
part of it
it's
is that it's called the user-friendly
Core?
budget, but it's information that is not even required.
In the budget, it's
in
not
the
part of the budget, that's what it is.
You know, it's really cost benefit.
Yeah.
Is the benefit of it worth the cost? And, you know, there is significant cost to it. We have a lot of time goes
See,
into it.
if we can
And how
provide-
many people actually read it?
if
Sorry,
we can
Max.
provide that
Somebody
type of
likes numbers.
information in a friendly manner, without having to do that, I would more than agree with
You
it.
can't.
That's a separate wonderful idea, but kind of the
Yeah.
debate is
Yeah.
this worth it? And so,
And on Jules' point, we're
What's
not
the
even ready
benefit?
for it.
That-
They threw it on us.
Well, I'm going to
everything else.
suggest we pass this resolution, because even if we do, we may still be required to
Right.
present it, and even if the requirement disappears, we can still decide to do it if we care to. But I think people are looking for our support on this. Frankly, I think we should do
So
it.
I'm assuming this has to be, this can't be done by an intern
No,
with the given that, right? It's, okay.
no, in fact, if you look at the cover page, you have to, it's the CFO who's
Yeah,
held
yeah.
responsible.
And it's
for it.
nowhere online at the state, of course, that it would be a simple form like fill in the blanks.
No,
If we could get an intern to do it, we should
mean,
have him
really.
apply for the
Well,
CFO
Now,
that's
job.
once
simple by
it's,
state.
once it's submitted to the state, I believe the state's intent is to post this on their website.
So you can compare,
So everyone's format will be the same,
yeah,
so it'll
you can
be,
easily
I
compare
think that that's
information.
a good thing.
But then it should be the state who provides the outline and make it
Let the
easy
state
for
pay
us.
for it.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
us making it for them.
And that was one of the things that was pointed out, and I think to me, one of the most valid issues is the fact that the state used to do a municipal database. They used to compile all this information into a book that we received annually by county with all the communities in the state. So this is actually less friendly because you have to go onto the website and look at 565 separate municipalities and then compare the ones you would like to compare, whereas it used to all be in one
Is this
document.
an Excel spreadsheet, Drew?
These are Excel spreadsheets.
Alright, there is, and I'm gonna be so controversial. There is no way that an Excel spreadsheet cannot be automated. And I know it's gonna be controversial, basically saying this unit is gonna be the sum of this unit is gonna be the sum of
Right, you have
this.
to put the
It's still
formulas.
manual.
Yeah,
in
and
here.
try, you
It's
have to
still
build
manual.
you have to build a program.
Correct.
That's, and I don't know if that's gonna be, and it builds once, and then you use it running year after year after year. Now, I'm not gonna, because you are so overworked, I will vote the way you want it. But I think, no, and
Motion to call the question.
yes, but I think that that's a good thing. All right.
Okay,
So I'll put it on the next consent agenda.
thank you. Okay, unless anybody has anything else, we'll go into our public meeting. And hopefully it's going to be a short one. Motion to close the,
So moved.
all in favor?
So-
Same side.
So
issue, a very important side in this country that still continues to this day. And if you are sensitive to civil rights, I've worked in it all my life, and I became aware when I was 6 years old, when my father was explaining what was going on. And I think unless you have some kind of additional information, I think it's not a good idea to do it right now. It just felt wrong, and I can't. I've worked all my life in civil rights. I can't stop now.
Thank you. Any other people care to speak? We'll close the public comment section.
There was another lady who would like to speak.
Please, thank you, ladies.
My name is Lorraine Kapakchin. I live at 54 Foster Road. There's talk in my neighborhood about a proposed dog park in the area. This area already has several facilities, including the Borough Hall Complex, the Commons, and the municipal field. We feel it's time that new community projects be placed elsewhere. Although I'm here tonight by myself, my neighbors are also against this location. They're opposed to it, and we feel additional expenses and studies should be postponed until there is a discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else care to speak? We'll close the public comment section. Committee reports, Dan, do you have
No, we
anything?
have to adopt the consent agenda.
I'm sorry?
Consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamastra?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Stefanowitz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zina?
Yes.
Okay, now committee reports. Dan, do you have anything?
The environmental committee met this week. They are going to, Bob Culver, the DPW guy, will start looking at the community garden. We're gonna, I reached out to Fort Lee. They have a very nice one for their rules and regulations. We didn't want to move forward without the proper who's gonna manage it, who's coming to garden, what are the rules, how do they fight over a spot.
Where is that garden? Do you know offhand? Is it near the community center?
Next to it, next to their dog park. Very, very nice garden. Bob will also email me when he's ready for the library garden. The person donating the lilacs is all ready. All Bob has to do is pick up as many plants as he would like. Then the two representatives on the Open Space Trust Fund have given us updates. That meeting is tomorrow.
No, Thursday.
Oh, Thursday, yes, you're right.
Thursday.
Sorry,
Thursday's the 28th, right?
Thursday,
Yeah.
7:30.
So there'll be talks there. The CAP is meeting regularly as well. The summer, they won't be meeting this summer, but they should be updating us on project graduation and the prom.
Who's gonna be the new chair, do you know?
Oh yeah, I left it in my car.
Sorry.
It's on a piece of paper. I wrote it down too.
Mark, you have anything?
Yeah, just to follow up on the open space meeting that's this Thursday, one of the topics there will be having a conversation about the possibility of a community center and everything that may or may not mean. Lots of questions. Andy Hippolyte, our engineer, will be attending that meeting at 8 o'clock. I had a conversation with him last week on the telephone once Jewel was kind enough to schedule him, just to give him some background of our discussions. And so he's coming this Thursday so we can start talking about whether any of the ideas we're throwing around are feasible, given the geography and what we're talking about. And then from there, he'll prepare whatever might be called a statement of work or something like that to give the council a sense of what it might cost for an engineering study officially of what we may be doing going forward. And of course, before we move on any of that, I will report back to the council at our next council meeting what Andy may have or not said at this Thursday's meeting, and we can go each one step at a time. Any questions on that from anyone? No? The other is the bid subcommittee meeting. We'll be having that on Thursday, June 4th, to kind of finalize our recommendations to bring back to the Borough Council to make decisions about the future of the bid and how it may or may not be structured and its purpose.
Thank you.
That's it.
I just want to mention that yesterday we had our Memorial Day parade and ceremony. Although that's primarily run by the Elks Club, we all participate. I thought the parade went well. It was a beautiful day. It was a nice crowd. The crowd had the ability to hear the ceremony this year, which I think added to it because I think the level of attention was much greater. And of course, we're very fortunate to have the Tenafly High School marching band and the cheerleaders or the flag twirlers perform, and that really adds to a parade. So we want to thank the high school for their participation. Nadia, do you have anything?
Yeah. Recreation met 2 weeks ago. I know there was a question about summer camp, and we are at capacity. The numbers break out. There are about 360 kids that are from either Tenafly and Alpine combined, and about 40 that are from out of town. And we had at that time a wait list of about 8 to 10 people looking to still enroll in camp. So people have their plans in flux right now, so they may or may not be able to continue to sign up for that. We had another bike rodeo, which had about 50 to 60 children. Really one of the most successful events that the borough runs in conjunction with the police department along the side of the high school to teach kids to ride. It was fantastic. We also each year have something called the Montdale Tournament. Peter, you know that is. It's a girls softball tournament. I don't know how many years, but at least over a decade that we have been competing in that tournament. And this is the first time that we've had a team that actually placed in the tournament, the 10U team. So I thought since we have recognized some high school teams, maybe it would be nice to play to recognize the 10U team. I mean, it's never been done. We've never been in the ballpark to actually place at any of these events. It's been so competitive, and our program here has grown and gotten so much better that I think some recognition to the softball program would be very nice.
Well, when you said they placed, would they finish third?
You know,
how many teams?
That I don't have, and I don't know why I don't have that.
Why don't you find out exactly, how they did, whether they finished third out of 8 teams, or
Yep.
And if if it's a significant
Yeah, it's just, I mean,
Achievement, we
these
should
are,
recognize
the best of the best kids competing in these kinds of tournaments, and it definitely was quite an accomplishment for our community to even place in the tournament. Other than that, Open Space is meeting on Thursday. We're gonna be discussing 3 issues, so the first issue we'll start out with is still prioritizing what the group feels funds should be used for. Whether its focuses on looking at pieces of property that are bordering our current properties in the borough, things that border our parks, whether there should be a focus on larger tracts of property, like 53 Knickerbocker and others such as that. Whether, and explain really the cost-value relationship of lost tax revenues and what value that these additional pieces of property maybe would provide. There has to be a value before it's simply not just preserving open property, but bringing some value back to the community. We will have to discuss the community center and then break off into a second committee moving forward in the future. And the last item will be the HPC, and if there's any way that use of these funds can help them identify properties more easily that need to be preserved and protected. Because it seems that the HPC, for all their hard work and effort, they seem sometimes to be behind the 8 ball in either having the funds or the manpower to move ahead to protect properties almost until it's too late. So maybe there is a component of this fund that could really assist them moving forward. So they're supposed to speak to us as well about
Well, you know,
how we can prioritize that.
The county fund is 3, open space, recreation, and
And historic
historical.
preservation, that's ours too.
Yeah, so there is an
There is
opportunity.
there is that component in there as well, so we want to make sure that we cover each component of the fund.
But in reality, if the HPC needs funds, they should prepare a budget every year and ask for them, and it would be our ability to fund them as well.
I'm not quite sure, but it just seems that, a piece of property will appear above the, in front of the planning board or the zoning board for demolition or whatever, and we seem a little behind the 8 ball in trying to get ahead of that, and I don't know if it's sometimes a funding issue or, any assistance that this fund could give to that, or using the fund to purchase a piece of historic property and preserve it as well. I mean, that's part of the goal of the fund. That's it.
Max, you have
I
anything?
don't have anything.
Paul?
I have no report, but I just wanted to agree with what the mayor said, that I think yesterday's Memorial Day event with the increased sound system made the event a lot better. And I think it quieted down the crowd, because I had heard over the last few years from several residents that during the solemn moments, the acknowledging of the wreaths and the roll call, that there had been a lot of chatter.
Even
And-
during the national anthem.
Yes, and I think it
This year
went,
was a little
it was
better.
better. So I think that was really a good step.
Yeah, that was donated by the Tenafly Rotary Club.
Yeah, terrific.
So hopefully we'll do that again
Yes.
next year.
Peter, I have one comment I forgot about. I mentioned it inside, but I want to bring it up again, was the Chamber of Commerce. And on the May 29th and the 30th is the dumpling throwdown. And you can get tickets at Cook Teak or Walmart's. So you'll be able to go to 7 different restaurants in Tenafly over 2 days to have dumplings. It'll be a lot of fun.
One other item, just as a reminder to the governing body that June 12th is the awards dinner for the ambulance corps. So if
Right.
you haven't responded, please do so.
What time is it?
May I respond?
5:30 we have to be here?
You're killing me, Max.
I'll try and soft it.
I think it's 5 o'clock here.
5 o'clock here.
Promptly at 5.
5:15, the bus leaves at 5:30. So 5:15, you need to be here. Be back by 10:30.
We'll be here.
No old or new business from anybody? Under mayor's remarks, I just want to bring you folks up to date. I got a hectic phone call late Thursday afternoon, it was actually after hours, from a representative of the Tenafly Swim Club. They had some issues not getting approved by the electrical inspector with a health inspection due the next morning, contingent on whether the electrical inspector passed them. And of course, this was the Friday before Memorial Day. So with the help of Bob Burns, we did get those inspections done. They were able to open, which turned out to be a very good thing, because the Tenafly Swim Club didn't open due to issues with their pools.
We should health inspector as well.
So the Tenafly Swim Club had issues with the pool. Tenafly allowed the Tenafly members to use their pool as well, so it's very fortunate
nice.
that they were open. I don't know, I got all this, I got the information about the Tenafly Swim Club secondhand. I haven't spoken to any representatives of that swim club, and I'm surprised.
Joanna knows all this stuff.
I'm surprised that we haven't heard more about it. And you're right, Jewel, the health inspector did come in on Friday, Ruby, as well as the electrical inspector, to make sure that Tenafly was able to open. So unless anybody has anything else, please read the closed session
Sure.
intro.
Resolved in compliance with NJSA 10:4-12, the Mayor and Council or Tenafly go into closed executive session to discuss the following matters. The first is a personal matter, just an update on our CFO recruitment, and the second is attorney-client privilege matter concerning a potential retention of an expert in the municipal COA litigation. Those will be taken of this meeting and released to the public at the time each of the matters are resolved. At the end of this closed executive session, the Mayor and Council will reconvene in the Richard T. Wilson Committee Room to adjourn this public meeting.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you inside. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip home.